Welcome to Talk Tuesday, a series dedicated to empowering youth and families. This series is brought to you by Steps Foundation Incorporated, where advocacy meets education for the betterment of young minds. I'm Amaya Ward McCaskill, your host and peer educator at Steps Foundation Incorporated. This month, we're honoring a group of unsung heroes, family caregivers, especially the teens who balance caregiving with school, friends, and their personal lives. In our Family Caregiver Month series, we'll be exploring the unique challenges caregivers face, discussing ways to balance caregiving with personal life, connecting you with vital resources, and celebrating the hard work and dedication of caregivers everywhere. Each week, we'll offer insights, encouragement, and practical advice to support caregivers and their families. Let's dive in and shine a light on these incredible young people who care for others so selflessly.
All right, all right, all right. Thank you so much, Amaya, for that amazing opening. We are so excited as it is the last week of our Caregivers Awareness Month, and we couldn't be more excited for the amount of knowledge that has been shared across the platform over the last couple of weeks. And this week, we're kind of diving into celebrating and appreciating caregivers and what that looks like. I know we kind of talked about ways that we can make sure that our caregivers are getting the best of their needs. And so here's one of the questions that we're going to use to kind of start us off. Darlene, I know you've been caregiving for a hot minute here. Can you share with us how have you been recognized for your efforts as a caregiver?
Repeat that again.
How have you been recognized for your efforts as a caregiver?
Oh, I have been recognized as Employee of the Month um, for taking care of others and doing it and sharing. Um, I had an article that was written on my behalf for doing that. So there is some recognition that is being made.
I love that. I love that. Do you feel that it's important for caregivers to receive some recognition?
Yes, I do believe it's important because it makes you feel good, even though you're doing it from the heart and you go in every day to do the best job that you can. It's always nice to hear somebody say, "Thank you. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for helping me out." Thank you goes a long way. And I would like to say to all the caregivers out there, thank you for always doing what you do. As you show up, you always show up to try and lend a helping hand. You have the heart, and caring it is in the heart. We have that heart that goes out to everyone that we meet,
Yes.
and it makes a difference. You know, it don't cost you nothing to give a smile or to say hello or just a nod of your head. It goes a long way in helping people feel better about themselves as well as helping you feel better about sharing with them.
Absolutely. And I love that you bring that up because I do feel that sometimes caregivers don't get enough recognition. I feel like, they're that unseen piece because people know that there's people that need to be taken care of, right? But oftentimes they don't know who's the one that's taking care of that loved one and who's doing all the things and all the work and showing up on their behalf. What do you feel are some ways that the community can help recognize and support the work of caregivers?
I think even as the community, when they come in, they see the nurses or the CNAs or whoever is taking care of their loved ones, just say thank you. Uh, Plain, simple thank you goes a long way. And let them know that you recognize that they're taking care of your one loved one. And it's not that they have to, it's because it's in their heart and they want to.
I love that. I'm a foodie. So I always tell people, you want to thank me? Bring me some lunch. At this point, I think I can even take on some Starbucks. Amaya, do you, and I'm gonna ask you because as a college student who gets to see um different things and different people who are also in the caregiving role, what are some things that you feel like should or could be used as a way of saying thank you to caregivers who are doing the work across the board?
I think being intentional about creating spaces for caregivers, like spaces where gratitude is being expressed. So if it's like a caregiving facility, I think just like a day where it's stop and really like honor these people that are giving so much of themselves to ensure everybody's okay and that their needs are being met. I think that's a really good way to do it. Uh, and I think that can also be done in a family setting too. Like, hey, let's like set a date to like just take this person out to dinner and kind of give them a reprieve from, you know, everything they've been doing. So we'll get somebody to step in with what they're usually doing and just give them like the night off or, just being intentional about like creating time for that.
I love that. I love that. And I think that too is so important. I think, ooh, the night off could mean so much to so many people, right? Just give me the night off. I think that's a amazing idea, especially for those where they're caring for their loved ones at home and it's not like a facility where other people are doing the work. How can families show appreciation to each other? Because I know even though we think of this in the light of our teen caregivers, I know we have some adult caregivers as well. How can families come together and show that appreciation for the loved one that is doing the majority of the work?
I would like to butt in. Um, and I'm an only child, so my parents only have me, and they work very hard for me to go to college and be able to afford the things that we do have. So what I like doing, because my dad's schedule is so busy because of work, so normally in the evenings, I'm like, hey Dad, do you want to watch the X-Men movies? Just 'cause, that's his favorite movies. So I was like, oh, do you want to watch X-Men? I haven't seen it yet, so we want to watch it together. So we've been doing like a movie night every night, and choosing our our favorite films to watch, and then we've been doing that for a while. And that's just like, it doesn't have to be like something huge. It could be something small like movie nights, or maybe you make them lunch, or I don't know. It doesn't need, the point is it doesn't need to be huge. I feel like it's very easy to be like, no, but to appreciate someone, I have to do this huge thing. But really, you can like just do something very, very simple as like, oops, sorry, as like doing the dishes like one night when you didn't, like, instead of someone else. And yeah, I think that's a good one.
Awesome. Anyone else?
Yes, I think it's important. Game night, cook a meal, and just share it among each other and celebrate that.
I
I
love
think
it.
small acknowledgments too, like one day just like waking up in the morning and sending the person a very like thoughtful message of like, I'm so grateful that you do XYZ and that you're just so consistent and, diligent about everything. And depending on the person, because everybody doesn't like to be recognized socially, but like when you have family holidays and y'all are like about to say the prayer or whatever you do to like honor the food you're about to eat, like just shout out that person and like what they've been doing all year long. I think that just makes people feel seen, you know. So
Ooh, I
Yeah, I
love
think
that.
it's amazing.
Yes. And I love that you bring up that a lot of people don't like being recognized socially, right? And I think we kind of talk about this. We talked about this previously as well. People who sometimes have a hard time accepting recognition and accepting the thank you. And I love I love that you said, kind of subtly added in there, during the family prayer or, as the family is gathering together, just, hey, thanks for taking care of mom and dad, or thanks for taking care of the cousin. Like, we appreciate you for doing that. As awkward as it may feel for the person who doesn't like to be socially recognized, it is a way of getting it out there so that they know that others are paying attention. People are feeling grateful. People want to know that you see me, right? Um, and I feel like that is so important because a lot of times we feel unseen when we're doing things and the work is hard and you're just on go mode in that moment. So I love that you bring that up too. What about friends? How do we think friends can play a role in showing appreciation or lending a hand when it comes to friends who are caregivers?
I think with friends, just showing up and offering their support. Um, some trying to do what they can. They offer it and they follow through with it. Because a lot of people may say, call on me, and then they never show up. But
Ooh,
when that friend shows up and offers a helping hand and willing to talk, that takes a little pressure off of you and give you a moment to breathe and say thank you to them for offering that help.
yes, yes. I love the just show up. As simple as that sounds, right? Just show up. I think sometimes we forget that just showing up means the world to a lot of people. As caregivers, I know sometimes it's very daunting because it seems like you're doing the same thing day in, day out. And you just need that socialization. Like, I don't want to look at another changing of a diaper or another round of a bath schedule, for my loved one. Just having that person to socialize with outside of doing all the work means a lot because it's a way for you to kind of take a break away. Like, it takes your mind off of it for that moment. I'll even add in just a phone call because sometimes like it is hard to show up, but you can most definitely make the phone call just to check on that caregiver and see how they're doing. And sometimes, that conversation makes that day. I love that. I love it, love it, love it. Let's see. How do you guys feel sharing stories about caregivers or as caregivers helps the next person feel comfortable with their caregiving role?
I think by sharing, you help offer them that little support. They know they're not alone. You're not the only one that's doing it. Other people are doing it. And by sharing your story sometimes, it gives them that confidence they need to continue to go on that extra mile because it can be daunting day in, day out, going in, doing what you have to do. So to share it with somebody else, let them know, okay, somebody else is doing this too. I got the strength, to go one more day, one more step. And you just take one day at a time and continue to move on.
Mm, like, what was, oh, come on, Maya.
Well, I was gonna say, I think that can also create a space for um like open communication or like vulnerability because I think caregivers can kind of do a lot and you're not always telling another person or people like what you're going through, how you're feeling as you're not just taking care of a person, but like watching this person potentially like decline like over time. So it could create a space of like, okay, I can actually talk about this and it's safe. And if they need to like get their emotions out, in doing that and cry or whatever, like I think somebody opening up that conversation may make them feel more comfortable to also open up.
Yes, yes. But she said, get them emotions out. Yes. And it's so true. And see, with that, my connecting question to that is what kept you motivated? So I know, darling, you've been the caregiver, right? And you kind of been that person and on the receiving end of like the recognitions and things like that. But what was it something that kept you motivated? Because again, you said it multiple times, like being a caregiver can be very daunting. It's very hard, it's tough. What kept you motivated to continue doing it?
I think because it's just in me. My thing is in the heart to share and give, and you want to give what you have that's on the inside that's gonna make a difference. It's a feeling inside of you saying, "Okay, I'm doing this not because I'm getting paid, not because I really have to, but because I want to. I want to go out and help. I want to see the change." And when you see that loved one, it may not be where they will get better. Um, because what how to word that, to get there to say that is somebody is dying. It may not be that they're getting better in the sense that they're not going to die, but it's better in the sense that you can make them feel better for a moment or give them that time to share and offer your support. So, in that moment, and sharing and letting them talk and share their story or whatever they have to share, they give them a moment to reflect on their life and offer that to somebody else because it's not easy watching people die, especially like when I lost my mom. It's not easy watching it, but knowing that you've done your best and given your all, and knowing that they know you are there and you're offering that support and you include them in everything that you do, it makes a difference because that gives them that time to share with you and you're still sharing with them. And that helps a whole heap.
I love that. I love that. And you're right, it's not easy at all to watch. But I love that that's your motivation is seeing them happy for that moment, like giving them that peace of mind for that moment. Before I go to the next question, anybody else want to share? I love y'all like, we not touching that one. What role do you guys think gratitude plays in building resilience for caregivers? So I know we talked about hearing how our communities can become better at saying thank you and appreciating the roles that our caregivers play and how our families can play a role in making sure that our caregivers are hearing those words. Now, how do we feel gratitude plays a role in building that resilience for them? Because again, we know caregiving is hard, and when you lose a loved one after caring for them for so long, it does take a toll. How does gratitude kind of play a role in that comeback from the sadness and the journey that they kind of traveled in? Oh, I see that thinking face. Look, Darlene swinging that chuck because she went, ooh.
Yeah. Gratitude goes a long way because you not only have the grace to say thank you to everybody that lended a hand to help because you didn't do it by yourself. There was others that was in this journey along with you. And by telling them thank you, I appreciate you being there. I appreciate you sharing. And then by sharing it with the families that are going through. I know this is a trying time for you, but thank you for being here. and taking care of your loved one and offering that support. It's not that you had to, because it's because you was willing to take that extra step. And I just want to say thank you for being here and caring for them and giving that support.
Ooh. And I love one of the students wrote in the chat, focusing on the memories and times together and just being thankful for that time. And I love that because it is very true. I, I know sometimes it's hard to even think about the gratitude that should come out of losing a loved one that you're caring for. But in order for us to be resilient, we have to find the positive in it sometimes. And that positive is that, like, being grateful that you were able to be there, being grateful that you got to share those last moments with them, and that they got to know that they were loved and cared for, and you got to express that love and care for them in those final moments. And I think that oftentimes helps to build that resilience, that bounce back after you've lost your loved one, is that knowing that I was there, I did the best that I could. I got to share in those moments. I got to make those memories that I'll be able to cherish and hold on to. And I think that is very important.
It's
If
a
you had,
healing process. By sharing that memory,
yeah,
it helps with the healing process,
yes,
because
yes,
as you share and talk about what they did, what you did with them, how you responded, how they responded, it's a moment in families that you get to share and remember all
yes,
the good things and be able to talk about them and share with each other and remember them in good times, and that goes a long
yes.
way with healing and that process of going through that grief. It helps, because don't just sit on it and don't talk about it, because they were here. They left that legacy behind for you to share with somebody else, not just hold on to it. So talk about them, share what they did, share what they gave to you and what they did with you. That's all a part of the healing that you're going to feel. You're going to feel better just by talking about them and knowing what they did with you and remembering all the times.
I love that. And healing, I think sometimes people have the expectation that healing should be a fast track thing. And it's definitely not. And it looks different for a lot of different people too. Like, healing looks different for everybody. And I think, and I love when you said, like, talk about it with your family, have those conversations and keep those memories alive. Because yes, it does help a lot of times with the healing process rather than bottling it up and holding it in. Which is why I think when we think about our caregivers, why it's so important to talk about the roles that they play, because every caregiver does something a little bit different. Um, Different caregivers have different roles. There's the caregiver that just comes in and they're that relief for the main caregiver, right? But you're still a caregiver because you're coming in and providing the relief. There's a caregiver that's there day in and day out. They're cooking the meals, they're washing the clothes, they're taking care of the household with that loved one in it, taking them to the doctor's appointments, all those things. But each caregiver plays a role and each caregiver should appreciate each other. And I think the conversations help to acknowledge the roles that each caregiver plays, especially when you think about those memories. Because there'll always be something funny that happens, while there'll always be something sad in the moment that happens. But it's an experience that, as a family, you guys will get to experience together in that world of caregiving. If there was something that you could say to a new caregiver that's now coming into this role, what would it be?
I would say, like, it's okay to get help, because sometimes it it's feels like you have to do this completely on your own or with your partner, but it doesn't necessarily have to be your partner. It could be like a friend that can babysit so that you and your partner can have alone time, or you to have alone time. Or maybe it's like just someone to like keep you sane throughout the whole thing. So I think like getting like having that support system is important. So it's okay to ask for help when you're struggling. It's not a sign of weakness in any way, shape, or form. If everyone needs help in any scenario, really. So yeah, don't be ashamed to ask for help.
I would like to offer too. Don't forget about yourself. And the role of caregiving, and you're giving and caring for everybody else. Remember, take time for yourself so that you'll be able to continue to function, because everybody needs a break every now and then. So don't lose yourself in the process. Remember, there are others that can help you or do it, but don't get lost in the process of caregiving and not take care of yourself, because you're going to need your strength throughout the whole process. So take the time, go take a break, come back. It's going to be there. The whole situation is going to be there. You can take a break, take a breather. And like Karen said, don't forget to ask for help. You're not alone. There are others that will be willing to come in and share the moment with you. We pray they step up to the plate and do their role.
Yes, yes. I love one of the students put in the chat, do unto others as you want to be done unto you. Kindness goes a long way. And I love that. Us remembering that and keeping that in mind. Is there anything else you guys would like to say to caregivers who may be stepping into the role? And I love these pieces of advice because these are all important. And I'll add, it is a scary thing. And that feeling is very valid. And I think sometimes it can make a person shy away from doing it because you get scared or you feel like you don't have the answers. Well, half the caregivers who became caregivers didn't have the answers. and they still had to do it. And I love Karen's, you're not alone, because you're not. And being able to find those resources and the connection to other people. And then Darlene, make sure that you're taking the time for yourself, because it is super, super important. And I will say, even if it is very scary. It is that and caring for adults.
And it was a very scary thing. First, not since I started with my son, trying to get answers, trying to um, find out about the condition that he had and what I was going to be able to do with that. The research was very hard because we didn't have all the computer tech that we have now to go out and get it. And I wound up writing to one of the organizations, and at that time, they had very little information on the disease that he had. And it was scary. It was trying. And then the day in going to the doctors and figuring out what was going on and why things were happening. And um, it it was a tedious process and very scary. But you got to put your fear aside, um, work through it, and that's not an easy process. Just to get to the answers that you need and move forward from there. And it's it was a lifetime thing. So you learn every day. You learn new stuff every day. You learn new things to do, new ways to react. So it's a trying time, but your faith is strong, then you have God to rely on. I did a whole lot of praying through all the years of trying to go through and keep strong.
What did your reward system look like for you? So how did you find a way to kind of reward yourself and like how did you reward yourself for doing the things that you did?
For years, I didn't. Didn't know what rewarding yourself was. But as I went on, I took on the different challenges. And once with Sam, it was like the little things. You cherished all the things, the milestones that he can pass, what he can do, how he reacted. He's able to move. He was able to crawl. He was able to talk. He was able to climb. But all those milestones, you have to treasure and appreciate each step that he made. So I find joy in just watching him grow and continue to do the little things. It's not the major things, it was all the little things that I went through and shared it with them and found joy in that. And the joy in sharing with not only Sam, but facing the challenges and drawing you in and watching your reactions with working with Sam, because it's a family thing. You
Right.
can't do it. You got to involve the family members in it. So the more you involve them, the more they get to see, the more they understand, the more they able to share, and it gives them that stamina. Oh, I'm helping too. So it's a rewarding thing just seeing the reward and watching the joy on his face as he can succeed in the struggles that he had to go through.
I like that you bring that up because the reward is not always the thing that you got go out and buy yourself. Right? The reward is oftentimes seeing the differences that family involvement can make when you're doing things together, or the reward in seeing somebody's struggle change for the better. Um, and I love that because I think sometimes that's also overlooked. When we talk about reward, you're looking for that tangible item that gives you that instant gratification for a reward. Like I would have bought me a new purse. That was my reward for being a caregiver, But it really is a lot more than just a tangible item. So I'm glad that you brought that up. Cause see, I should have been thinking on that side of things. See, look at that. I love it. I love it. No, and I think again, the family involvement is so important, but we also know that there are family members that oftentimes just will not be involved for whatever their own personal reasons are. And then for some, they may not have that additional family member that can be involved in the processes. So I appreciate you bringing up like ways for us to reward ourselves when we become that caregiver and what it can look like for us other than us buying things or, you know, how did you, because I know this one is also a tough one. If you don't have people that are around you to share that appreciation, how did you learn to appreciate yourself for the things that you did? I know I'm putting you all the way on the spot. Sorry.
It was just something I just did. It was no process that was in it. It was just you knew you had to do it, and you just geared up to do the best job that you can, and help that person as much as they can to strengthen them and encourage them to be the best person that they can be. So it was time.
I know that's a tough question, but I ask because I mean, even when we think about like us in general, like without caregiving even being attached to the word, right? How many of us already have a hard time showing ourselves appreciation for stuff? Let's be real.
Yeah, and that's a hard thing to do. I'm like, thank you.
Right.
But you start cheering you're your own cheerleader. You cheer
Right.
yourself on for the little miles that you make.
Yes, it is that, right? The little step that you took, the little bit goes a long way. And a lot of times we have to learn how to celebrate that little bit. And it's still hard. It's not that's not any easier than celebrating the big thing that you see that you've been able to accomplish. But the little things to celebrate are just as hard as the big things. And I only ask that question because again, I know for us who are not in caregiver roles, it's hard enough us trying to celebrate the small things in life that are happening around us. So in caregiving, I can only imagine that it's twice as hard to remember to appreciate yourself for the things that you are doing and the roles that you are playing. But also a reminder to our caregivers that are listening. We want you to appreciate yourself for the things that you do, the big and the small. I love it. I love it. Listen, look, I think we literally breezed through tonight. It was like whoop, whoop, smooth sailing. But one of the things that I do want to bring up and call attention to is that we are so grateful for the amount of caregivers that we have around us. I learn from the different caregivers around me every day. I show gratitude to them because the work that they do is hard. So if I have not told you, my wonderful caregivers that are around me, I appreciate and I love each and every one of you for the roles that you play and the things that you do to help make other people's lives 10 times easier and more comfortable. We can't say thank you enough for answering that call and being that person to care for somebody else. It is definitely a selfless act. And we appreciate you and we love you and we thank you. That being said, I'm gonna now turn it over to my girl Karen. Karen, you gonna close us out.
I apologize. It glitched and I couldn't hear anything. I was like, what? Everyone's looking at me. Okay. Thank you for joining us for Talk Tuesday as we are honored as we honored the role of family caregivers, especially our young caregivers. Their strength, resilience, and dedication deserve recognition, and we hope this series has provided valuable insights and support for those balancing caregiving with personal life. Family caregiving is a journey filled with both challenges and rewards, and we are grateful to have shared resources, tips, and inspiration with our listeners. Remember, you are not alone in this role. There is support, guidance, and community available every step of the way. Before we go, don't forget to check out our upcoming event at Step Foundation. We would love to invite students to join our programs, and there's still space available both virtually and at BVL Library. Our programs are a fantastic way to connect with peers, build essential skills, and have fun while learning. Plus, it's a great opportunity to expand your network. Mark your calendars for our special events this month. On November 30th, get ready for a night of mystery and intrigue at our Underwood Sellers Murder Mystery event at Hart Memorial Library. We still have space available. You can register for all the events by visiting our website at www.stepsfoundation.org/events or by following us on social media at Steps Foundation Inc. We hope to see you there. Caregivers, remember that the impact of your work goes beyond daily tasks. You're making a difference in the lives of those who depend on you. Take pride in each act of kindness, each day of dedication, and know that you are valued. To all caregivers and their families, we see you, We support you and we appreciate you. Keep checking our website for resources, stay connected with the community, and remember to take time for yourselves as well. We'll see you next time on Fact Tuesday.